fishing, it's in my soul.
Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
Hello, Salt Strong Nation. Joe Simons, like diamonds. We are back. Got my main man, Captain Joshua Taylor, Salty Scales. So backstory here, we used to have an apparel line at Salt Strong many years ago. And we kept hearing about, hey, you got to get scales in the arm, like this Salty Scales. And I was like, what? And the more I looked at it, I was like, well, that's kind of cool. And then I was like, I don't really like it. I honestly, don't take this wrong, but at first I didn't get it. And then we didn't ever want to copy what you were doing, Josh, but we just did like an all over, like complete cut and sew, just scales. And the thing exploded. And I was like, all right, I get it. People really like this stuff. And here we are years later. We have no apparel or very little. We do some with AFCO, and your apparel line is still killing it and growing. And your YouTube channel has exploded. I saw you're about to be at 100,000 subscribers there on I guess it's under Joshua Taylor, right? Not Salty Skills, but okay.
Yeah, it's under my personal name.
But dude, welcome to the show, man. You've really been killing it, brother.
Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, the design that you mentioned, it was a loud design. You know how we go through phases. At the time that we started Salty Scales, what was really coming back into play were those super bright neon colors. And I'm talking like neon yellow and chartreuse and oranges. And we played kind of on that because it was loud, it was crazy, and it really accommodated our, 25 to 35-year-old demographic.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but because I remember looking closely at your shirts, and then I felt like shortly after Guy Harvey, it felt like kind of copied the whole, single arm sleeve. Like, am I right? Like you guys were first to do that?
We were the first ones, and you are absolutely right. It was very, very frustrating, and it's one of the things. I mean, they didn't do the full sleeve, so it's one of the things that they made sure they changed it enough to where we couldn't really pursue anything. And honestly, I've been through that whole legal issue thing, and it's not really worth it. I mean, at the end of the day, I think we've established ourselves enough that, our loyal customer base understands that we really take pride in the quality, but also the design. And, we're not out there to try to make a bunch of mischief. We want to get along with everybody. We all love fishing, and I think we can do that.
Yeah, and you want to serve your community, and I know we'll talk about that a little bit later about what you guys are doing and give back. But one thing that I always like, because this is the first time you and I have really talked, but I always have noticed that you have the word God somewhere either on the site or throughout your branding. And you have America and God. I mean, it's stuff that I think a lot of us fishermen, can relate to. And I applaud you for that, because it's not easy. I know because we have God on our side as well. And occasionally, you get a little, maybe some animated or angry people that might disagree with you or think that, hey, you have no business, talking about God and your company. Leave that to church and stuff like that. So do you mind sharing kind of, was that there from day one, or is that something you just felt called to do? How did that go down?
No, it's really been there from day one. Without God, we wouldn't be where we're at today. And I think that as we progress and things really change in America, I think a lot of things are falling away from God, and we need to do just the opposite. Now, I'm okay with the wrath of people because, at the end of the day, I'm going to stand up for what I believe in, and the things and the principles that we believe in is God, family, and friends. And then it comes down to fishing. So, I mean, those are principles that will not go. I mean, they will not change. I don't care how much pushback we get, because at the end of the day, God takes care of us, and we got to take care of him.
Love it, man. And you guys have been very, very blessed. Meaning, I think a lot of, I'm guessing a lot of anglers, see brands like yours and think, oh yeah, it's just kind of a part-time deal. But like you guys got full-time people. Like this is a legit business. It's not just like a little hobby.
No, this is not our hobby. We've been full time for the last 5 years. I quit my banking career that I held for over a dozen years. And we moved into this full time, and it's been a blessing. There was definitely some uncertainty when I did that, of course, as in anything. Yeah. But like I've always said, you put God first, you do things right, you try to treat people well, and you do good business. One thing that we really focus on is customers, and that's the thing. We don't just throw up a business online and say, hey, come buy our product. We make sure the service is here, the product is backed by a great guarantee, and we just take care of our customers at the end of the day, and I think it's important.
I love it. And you guys have pretty bold guarantee on your apparel.
Yeah, 365 days.
That's awesome.
We let people, because we really do the R&D, and we make sure that the product is to our standards. And, at the end of the day, if you do that, really 365 days goes by very quickly.
Yep. That's so smart, man. I think one thing that attracted me to you guys was you have a similar mindset in terms of teaching, right? You have this YouTube channel now that, as I said, you're depending on when people listen to this, you might even be at 100,000, but it's right there. And you've really just led with teaching. It hasn't been, you don't have a million videos about just how to use your apparel and how to wear, a buff around your neck. I mean, you guys lead with the teaching and then have a call to action that, hey, if you want to help support us, then, here's some of the, the finest fishing apparel you can buy. So talk through that. Was that a plan day one? Like, did the YouTube channel happen before or after kind of Salty Scales was founded?
Yeah, the YouTube channel happened long before Salty Scales was founded. And like I mentioned when we were off the call, is that I wish I would have stuck with it. When I started the YouTube channel, I had a handheld camcorder, and I was doing haywire twists, and it was the worst. I mean, I have the videos, I just don't have them published anymore on the platform. But at the end of the day, I don't do everything perfectly. I'm not the best teacher. I mean, we're not perfect by any means, but we do enjoy teaching, and I understand that there's a lot of people out there that don't have a father figure or a grandfather that could teach them the things that I was blessed to learn. And if we can help one child pick up a fishing pole, it could change their life, because I know that because fishing changed mine.
Well, and you're a captain too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been a licensed captain since, I want to say 2009.
So so that happened first, right? So captain, then YouTube, then Salty Scales founded.
Actually, no, the YouTube, I think I started before, long before I got my captain's license.
Oh, dang.
So I started it, and then I backed away from it, and then the GoPros came back, and I'm like, all right, I'm back. I'm in business now. I can actually film this without having to worry about, floating around a big old camcorder.
That's funny. So you were a captain while you were still doing the banking stuff.
I was, yes.
Okay, got it.
That's actually when I got it. So when I was in my banking career, I felt like a caged lion. You just sit there and you're in this nice office and you're in this suit and you're just looking outside, and all you think about is the water or being outdoors. And I knew that my spirit was slowly dying. I had to get away from that. I mean, it did very well for me, where I was able to save a lot of money. I was able to learn a lot about life, customer service, and I would never change that. But at the end of the day, I felt like I needed to get out of that office, and these were the ways I was able to do that.
Dude, yeah. If you guys didn't hear that, rewind it real quick. I wrote it down. My spirit was slowly dying. Dude, and I've got goosebumps, because I felt the same way in the corporate world, and that was a big reason that we left. Just, it was that unfulfilling, feeling that just like there's got to be more to life than this, and it can't just be stuck inside all day. So, dude, I love that. What? Yeah. Walk, because this is a question we get all the time, and I'm going to go on a tangent here, but I think it's going to be an important one. And so many listeners, young and old, have that dream of not having to keep going to the same old corporate job over and over and over again. And yeah, dude, you said it's risky, it's stressful. We all know that. There's no way around it. Well, any advice, like knowing what you know now, besides just taking a leap of faith, but even just having maybe a better business model or idea, or just backup savings, like what are some tips on taking that leap of faith?
Well, and that's the thing, Joe. I'm not a gambler. I am very methodical with the way I do things, and I have to have a backup plan for a backup plan. So, what I would say is always search and find the people that are already successful. If you find someone that's successful and who has failed, because you can't be successful without failure. And I've learned that. I've been nervous to fail, but I've learned the most. And it's true. I've learned the most from my failures. So what I could suggest is that you follow your heart, you do what you love to do, and remember, time is something that you'll never get back. It is our most important, I think the most important thing in life next to love, because you're never going to get it back. You have to go and you have to find the people that already are aware of how to build something, especially if, like, for example, if we're in apparel, maybe you sit down and you reach out to one of those companies, and even the owner, don't be scared to send an email, because at the end of the day, all they're going to say is no, or you're not going to hear back. But you can't be scared of rejection, because just one sit down with someone who is a professional, who has been successful in that niche, and just one idea could change your whole outlook and really allow you to take off.
Did you have a mentor at that time, or did this whole just, hey, I'm going to come up with this single sleeve design and have these scales, like kind of walk through what happened there?
Well, that's the thing, Joe. I didn't have a mentor, and I really wish I did, because it could have really helped speed up the process. Everything that we've learned, I didn't know anything about apparel. I didn't know anything about, I've always been creative and artistic, but I didn't know anything about Photoshop at the time, and Illustrator and Premiere. All of these things, everything that I had to learn about our business, I had to do it on my own, and it was just research and research. So when I was at my banking job, I would come home from my 8 to 5, and then I would be on the computer from 5 to 1. And then I would go to sleep for a few hours and get up and do it all over again. And that's how it really started. And if you want to be successful, you have to have that drive in anything that you do, because it's important. And the more you learn, the more you put into play, the more you fail, the more things that you try, you're eventually going to hit. What was it Mark Cuban said? You only need one time to succeed. So you could fail 15 times, but you get that one and you're off to the races.
Love it. Yeah, there's even a group here in our hometown. It's called the 610 Group, and they own like the majority of the real estate in downtown. And the 610 came from the guy who's, I'm guessing he's 65 now. It came from his grandfather, who also did really, really well. And the reason the 610 came about, he always told his son and his grandson, he's like, guys, all you have to do is get 6 out of 10 right, and you will win every single time. It's the house rules at a casino, right? All you have to do is get 6 out of time and be consistent, and that means you can have 4 completely bombs. And a lot of that is that whole kind of failing forward mentality. And he's like, man, just don't be afraid to fail. Know that if you can get 6 good ones, and they don't have to be home runs, but 6 base hits, 4 strikeouts, and 1 home run, to your point, like Mark Cuban, 1 home run or grand slam, and you're off to the races. You got something. That's I always like that analogy of that.
And it's a valid thing, because at the end of the day, though, the other thing that I could tell the audience is that you have to, why are you doing it? And if you're doing something just for money or monetary gain, I don't think you can be successful. You can, but I don't think you can really be successful and happy, in other words. So having the two together. And everything that we do, I do the things that I do for freedom. I get to spend every waking day with my family, my children. I've never missed a milestone, except for when I'm traveling, of course. But I've never missed a milestone. I've seen them every day for their entire lives. And it's been amazing, because you don't miss anything. But I do it for the things that I do is not money motivated. It's for time, the time that I get to have with my family.
How old are your kids?
Well, my oldest is 5. She just turned 5, and then I got a 2.5-year-old.
Ooh, so you got your hands full, huh?
Oh man, do I ever? But I wouldn't change it, man. I look back. I was looking at my 5-year-old the other day, and I'm like, it seemed like yesterday you were barely tall enough to reach the counter, or you were barely tall enough to reach the couch, and now you're like taller than the counter. They grow so fast, man.
I love it. So I want to continue on this. You talked about the why, and that, meaning a purpose, a mission.
Right.
Why do you get up in the morning and do it? So why Salty Scales? Like, what was the problem you were trying to solve in the apparel side of things?
Well, when I initially started, one of the things was I wanted to break away from my career at the bank. But the other thing was, every time I'd be fishing on the weekends or whatever it might be, I was wearing these hot and heavy cotton T-shirts, primarily just cotton. And I was just like, I was paying $35, $40 for them, and I couldn't understand it. So I'm like, what if we can introduce a new, fresh design, something that is going to introduce a performance fabric, for performance blends that are going to keep you cool. And at that time, there wasn't a whole lot of that going on. I mean, it was a fairly, it wasn't very prevalent in the market at that time. Yep. And that's really how we started with Salty Scales and the thought of bringing in performance material.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think we take it for granted now, right? But in 2013, even 2014, that was kind of new. I mean, I'd say at least here in Florida where you and I are, I mean, if you went out there on a weekend, most of the dudes out there were just in a short sleeve cotton shirt,
Well, I was wearing Columbia cotton shirts. I was wearing Salt Life cotton long sleeves. And man, you know how hot it is down here, Joe.
Yep. Yeah, it was a kind of a game changer when these UPF, meaning these kind of high performance sun protection shirts that were super light and breathable came out. And then all of a sudden hoodies came out, right? I know you guys are getting to the hoodies now. And I thought that was the dumbest thing I'd ever seen in my life. It's like, why would anyone in Florida wear a hoodie fishing all day? And dude, it cools you down. Like, and it helps out with sight casting. I love my hoodies now.
Well, and that's the thing. I can't tell you how many people at events or shows will come up to me and like, why do you have a hood on your shirt here? I'm like, listen, he goes, I can't wear a hood. You put this hood on out in that Florida heat and you won't want to wear a regular shirt. I mean, it's just that way. But the other reason we wanted to implement Salty Scales, just so you know, is that we've had some family members that were ran into the melanoma and the skin cancers, and man, it's life altering and it's debilitating, and that stuff pops up so quick. So if you're listening, guys, it don't matter if you're wearing Salty Scales, Salt Strong. I don't care what apparel you're wearing. You just need to make sure you're covering up out there. You're spraying the sunblock, and just keep yourself protected. It's not worth dying for in your 40s and 50s just because you didn't want to cover up.
Yep, I did a whole podcast on that. So I don't know if you know my backstory, but I grew up my whole life, born in Florida, and we spent our time on the summer. My grandfather had a place on Daytona Beach, and so we spent every summer there. And I think I might be a few years older than you, and it was really those beginning years. Sunscreen was available, but like 8 was about the highest. And I'm all of a sudden like 15 came out, and that was just like, oh my gosh, they got 15. And it's still half of it was oil and was all chemical based. And we all just went out there without shirts on. And then, dude, I woke up one day at 28 years old. I was single and, thought I was on top of the world. And all of a sudden found out I had melanoma. And it was the beginning of stage 2. So it was like, pretty big deal. I got lymph nodes taken out. I mean, it was full day of surgery. And dude, that'll shake you up. And it's a reason some people still poke fun of me, and I'm fine with it. They're like, wait, you're owner of a fishing company. You look pasty white. I'm like, man, I used to be really tan. And now I protect myself as much as possible. Rarely, if ever, will you see me out in a boat without a long sleeve performance shirt and or a hood as well. It's just not worth it. To your point, it's not worth dying, and it will shake you up, and it happens really, really fast.
Oh, I mean, that type of stuff, it's like you said, it's an eye opener, and it really will alter your view on things, because then you really appreciate the things that are important.
Yep. And that, for me, it sounds like you didn't have that scary moment. It was just, I love my spirit was dying inside. For me, it was that was the catalyst, having the cancer, because that was at 29 was when I left the corporate world to start my own company in financial services, but still realized I basically took a leap of faith, but it wasn't big enough. We always had this dream of having an outdoor fishing company. And so I took one small step before I took that really big step, and completely left the industry and burned all the bridges behind me, if I will, and went out and did it, just like you, dude. So I love stories like that. That is so cool.
No, I mean, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you got all that under wraps, and I'm glad you're able to spread the good word. People just need to stay protected. Well, it don't matter what brand you're wearing, just stay protected out there.
But of course, try to buy Salty Scales first. So
absolutely.
So what are your top designs now? I know it all started because I've seen a ton of the redfish sleeve. I've seen a lot of the young dudes around here, because I'm in Winter Haven, Florida. I moved from Tampa to Winter Haven. We had our third child. If you get there, you'll know what I mean. All of a sudden, you go from one-on-one with your wife to all of a sudden you're doing this whole zone, and it's just like, what the heck is happening? There's kids everywhere. But I do.
We're done it too, Joe.
You're done it too. No more.
No more.
All right. Well, if so, meaning it's done.
Yeah. No. And my wife, she's had some complications, and honestly, they said she'd never be able to have kids, and I told her to leave it in God's hands. And we had 2 beautiful baby girls, and we're blessed, and we're more than happy with that.
Dude, that is awesome, man.
Absolutely.
That is awesome. Anyhow, I'm seeing young kids around here, because we have a lot of lakes in Winter Haven here in the center of Florida, and I see the bass sleeve. So what's now kind of the top selling design?
Well, we have the redfish are always doing really, really well. The bass, believe it or not, even though we're Salty Scales, and trust me, I get a lot of flack for that. But, at the end of the day, as the owner, I can make that executive decision to put whatever I want on the shirt. And I went with it because it was weird. It was different. And let me tell you, we'd sold hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of that bass shirt alone.
That's awesome.
So the redfish, though, I mean, the new stuff that's out right now, the Leo design is really hot, which is the Blue Lives Matter, because we support guys. We support everyone, but we support our police officers who make the ultimate sacrifice, our military, and we're pro-America. We got conservative values, Christian values, and those are the shirts that are really, really doing well right now.
And what do they look like?
Well, the redfish here, the Gen 3, we got the redfish on the back, and then we have the Gen 2, which has the redfish with the flag. People really love that shirt, obviously, because they're patriotic. They love the redfish. One of my favorite fish is the redfish, so especially inshore. And then the largemouth is just, it's got the art is what we try to make very unique on the shirts, and I think that we do very well with that. So the bass on the back of the largemouth is chasing the spinnerbait, and we got the scales, of course, the loud scales. But it's really cool. I know our demographic is a little younger, but I'm starting to see a lot of older men wear the shirts. I mean, I'm starting to see a lot more, actually. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome, man. I also saw you got a new boat on one of your videos.
Yeah, so it's not really a new boat. I was going to buy a brand new boat, but for a lot of my followers who know, we've had an unfortunate incident with my father-in-law who's had some serious brain damage from a fall he had. And just to help with the expenses of the things, my mother-in-law was going to have to sell the boat, so I decided to pick it up and help her out, give her a good deal on the boat, and we're going to fix it up and also do some, little video projects with it on YouTube. And also just we wanted to keep it around because it has many, many years of history. and that's what we're going to do.
And that's the boat that, I mean, you have the wrap too, right? Like, look sharp.
Yeah, it's all gonna be salty scales. The whole deck is gonna have scales in the sea deck. We're gonna have we got big old scales on the side of the boat. So it's a cool project boat right now, and like you say, the family will all get to enjoy it for hopefully at least another 5-10 years, or maybe more.
I love it. Yeah, definitely turn some heads, or it will turn some heads. That's awesome.
Yeah, the wrap thing is. I'm not a big fan of the wraps because I don't like to draw attention out on the water. As you probably know, there's a lot of people in the Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And, they will follow you around on the boat. But, we try to get out there during the week, and there ain't as much boat traffic. But it is what it is,
Yeah. We're having the same debate right now because we just got a new boat, and there's a part, right, that you want to wrap it. You got to be proud. And at the same point, and C.A. Richardson used to tell me the same thing. And now, ironically, he does not have a wrap boat. And he's just like, man, it's soon as you dump it in the water, there's people eyeballing you and even following you. And he's like, it just never ends.
Yeah. Well.
So,
and our fish have lockjaw on the bay on many days because they're hit so hard.
Yes. And this summer was crazy, dude. Right? Like, I remember going out on a random Tuesday, and this is, I'm talking like middle of COVID, and it was like a Saturday. So many boats out. I was like, what in the world?
Well, if you've ever been out at the Cockroach Bay off that ramp,
yes,
you'd go down there and the cars would be 3 miles. I'm not even exaggerating. They'd be 3 miles from the ramp.
Yes.
It was, I've never seen anything like it. And that was like that for a large part of the summer.
At some point, someone smart or with money is going to figure out a different, like some other alternative, or like to triple the size of Cockroach. Something has to change, because that is, right. I mean, it's such a popular place, and it is just brutal on a weekend.
It is. Absolutely.
All right, well, let's switch gears real quick. Talk about some of the things that you're doing, and I really want to applaud you here on the give back side. You guys have been big into that. Really day one, and taking some of your profits and putting them back into community, into other nonprofits that are going to make an impact. What are you doing now?
Right. Early on, we were donating a good portion of the proceeds to Kids Cancer Foundation, and since then we've actually changed it up. We're actually donating a portion of our proceeds to Tampa Bay Watch, and Tampa Bay Watch is a local. It's a local organization that really focuses on estuary rehabilitation, summer camps. They got a good community outreach and do different field trips where they're planting different oyster beds and seagrasses and things like that in the bay. So one of the ideas to partner with them and to support them was we want to get involved with the video aspect and get out there and show people, hey, let's do this. This is why we take care of it. This is why we don't do this, and this is why we should do this. Well, we joined them right prior to this COVID, so we had scheduled meetups to actually do some video content. And of course, the COVID slapped us down, and then all of that went away for now. Obviously, we still support them. But the idea is to get out there and start filming some of these things so it reaches a lot more people and we can all take notice of the things we need to do. Yeah,
I think that's so important. And even on the other coast, right, I've seen a lot of posts recently about, the Indian River Lagoon and just the water quality. And for those of you who don't know, I mean, Tampa Bay went through a similar thing. It was, quite a few decades ago. But there was a time where, I mean, almost all the seagrass was dying and or gone in Tampa Bay. I mean, people called it just a nasty cesspool, like a sewer system. And I mean, it took fishermen, it took obviously concerned locals, and it even took obviously a lot of money, and even getting the politicians on board. And Tampa Bay now, even though it's certainly not perfect, man, there's some pretty healthy seagrass out there. I mean, there's even though I think it gets overfished in some areas and at certain times of the year, but man, it has had a massive turnaround. And so that's the exciting news is it can happen, but it takes groups like Tampa Bay Watch and others who are just constantly, putting love and attention into it and making sure that we have new oysters and mangrove lines and seagrass getting planted. That part is just so critical.
Well, and that's the thing. We all love it, and if we truly love it, then don't you want the future generations to do the same?
Yep.
And I'll be honest with you, Joe. I went over to Texas this past year. I usually try to go over once a year, but to meet with our buddies over there in South Texas. And, man, they have one. Have you ever been to South Texas?
I have, yeah. I used to live in Texas, yep.
Okay, well, there's some of the best red fishing that I've ever seen. And it's because they dump so many different redfish. They try to, take care of their waters, at least in the region area that I was fishing. And the fishing is some of the craziest I've ever seen. And I think Tampa Bay could get like that if we actually got the people to care and they stopped dumping the sewage. I mean, you can't dump 1 billion gallons of sewage in the bay and think we're not going to have red tides and brain-eating amoebas and everything else,
Yep. That's pretty funny. Not funny, sad, but yeah, no, it's 100% true. And a lot of that too is, Tampa is exploding in terms of people. I mean, it's one of those pros and cons, right? You see everyone, because I was born in Tampa, lived there until we moved here, and it was ranked, and St. Pete was as well, as some of the best places to live, and everyone gets excited, and then all of a sudden everyone starts showing up with their bags, moving in, and you're like, okay, well maybe we don't really want to be in the top 10 best places to live,
right?
Because it sometimes can have a negative impact on the fisheries and just overall water quality. But yes,
well, your point is very valid, Joe. If you want proof of this, guys, just go on Realtor.com and Google or just search for any house under $300,000 on Realtor.com. I think every single one of them has a pending contract. They don't last 48 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So if you're a realtor right now, you are making bank.
Oh, yeah. This has probably been one of the better years. I mean, you got crazy low interest rates. This has been an amazing year. And people still feel, for the most part, I think people had still felt wealthy and had money, in equity in their house and wanted to upgrade. And this, man, every realtor I've talked to has absolutely killed it this year.
Well, I sold a 1.8 acre property that I had right here on the water. I listed it had a pending contract in less than 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, we just closed on that. So, I mean, you could put anything on the market in Tampa Bay right now, and it's going to have a contract within a few days. That's
funny. All right. We just did another podcast on Baitcasters versus spinning. I know you do both. You got how-to videos and different tips. What's your go-to and why? I'd love. We always say we have to have some fishing tips on here. When are you using each one?
Well, I find that I use the Baitcasters a lot more freshwater. Just when I'm running a crankbait or something that has more torque, I just feel more comfortable, obviously, with a bait caster. I find that those baits are suited better for it. And I don't know, sometimes even on my saltwater bait caster, I just feel the urge to pick them up and kind of get that largemouth hook set on the mangrove snapper or whatever it may be that I'm fishing for. You just want to kind of, pop them. And I find that on my heavier outfits, with my heavier bait casters, I could do that. But typically in the salt aspect, I'm going to go with a spinning reel. I find that I have, great control with a spinning outfit. I could cast lighter lures, in the wind, and Lord knows we've had a lot of wind lately. But I find that I gravitate towards more of a 3,000, 4,000 with a medium fast rod, and I find that I can use that setup for most of the applications within the bay.
Cool. And you do live bait and artificial. What do you go to the most?
Yep, we do. That's the thing. There's a nice mixture. I kind of get bored sometimes of throwing live bait. It is fun watching them pop. But I like to challenge myself a little bit. We are currently using the bad fish boxes. We get a lot of those every month. So we're actually going out there and testing new lures that might even push us outside our comfort zone. And I find that that's fun, But like me and you both know, these fish, unless you're out there in a major feed around a new moon or a good moon, sometimes these fish will lockjaw. And if you go out on the weekends, they'll completely shut down. I don't care what lure you throw out. Yeah. You have to hit them in the head, knock them out, and let them float before you get one.
What's been a new lure from Bad Fish or anything you've tried that's been like, wow, this thing actually does pretty well or looks really amazing? What's been a kind of a unique one?
Well, there was a voodoo swimmer that I'd never used. It was a little shad that I got in the box the other day. That thing has some wicked action, had a little chartreuse tail on it. And just the action alone, I've used voodoo shrimp, never used their voodoo shad, but that thing was really, it looked good. It looked like, a little greenback, which really matches the hatch right now, the smaller baits. And I could tell you a lot of different species would eat that up.
I haven't even seen it. How many inches is it?
It's like a little 3-inch swimmer.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, this thing's got some wicked tail movement on it.
And do you rig it on a jig head or what do you put it on?
No, it actually already comes weighted.
Oh, it's pre-rigged. So okay, cool.
Yeah, it's pre-rigged, and you just tie that baby on there with a loop knot of your choice. You go on Salt Strong and look at them loop knots. I got a couple loop knots too on mine, but go out there and toss that thing around the mangroves, or here in a little bit, if we ever get a cold front this year, you can go around the power plant there and hammer some jacks and cobia and things like that.
Cool. I'll have to check it out. I'm always interested in testing out the new lures. So I know we got some voodoo shrimp. I don't think we've tried that one. So that's cool.
Yeah, no, it's and that's the thing. You get a lot of lures, a lot of random lures that you might not buy in the store. And there are a million lures you could get inundated when you walk in a Bass Pro, although I'm off the opposite. I'm just like, here, I'll take that one, I'll take that one, I'll take that one. And then my wife yells at me for a couple of weeks because I have lures literally everywhere. But no, it's really a good thing because it pushes you outside your comfort zone, but they really put some good things in the box. You know what we should do, Joe? We should do a bad fish challenge. Salt Strong versus Salty Scales.
Ooh, so what? Walk me through that. We both get a box and have to just go fish it?
We go fishing. See, we could either do the most fish or we could do a multi-species catch for the day. And then we could do it by measurement or just by how many fish we catch. You name it. We could do it.
All right. Let's chat offline. I love the challenges. So we need to do one. That'd be fun. Talk about the future. What's next? Like, what are the big goals? Are you going to expand? Meaning, are you getting into shoes and flip flops, maybe you already are, board shorts? What are the next big goals?
So we actually do plan to expand. We're actually looking at some, implementing some hardware, some pliers. I want to do board shorts and things like that. But we also want to be a little bit more inventive. So we're looking at some ideas that may be able to alter or improve some existing products that might make our lives a little easier. So we're working on things like that because, we don't want to just keep replicating what's there. We want to try to improve and make some change as well.
Yep. And this is on apparel, or this is more like tackle / accessories?
Yeah, this is actually going to be tackle / accessories. I have some idea for apparel. The problem is just finding a manufacturer that can do them. And it's not easy, as you probably already figured out.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. Well, let everyone know where they can go find you and follow you and buy your gear.
Well, go to saltyscales.com, guys, and we appreciate all of your support. Again, family-owned, friendly business, and on YouTube, just type in Salty Scales. We've got Joshua Taylor. We're on there. We'll have to link up, Joe. I think I'm subscribed to you guys' channel. We'll have to link up on there and start pushing some people your way off the channel as well. I think a lot of our viewers, probably watch each other's channels in some way or another.
Yeah, definitely. That's why your name has come up multiple times from our audience, and I was like, let's make it happen. We'll chat offline about some other ideas. But everyone, please go check out Joshua Taylor there on YouTube. I'm looking at so 95,000 subscribers as we record this. So help them get there. I remember because it wasn't that long ago. We just hit 100 and got our cool little YouTube plaque or whatever the heck it is. And
that's awesome.
You're going to be there any day. But I remember how long it took. It felt like it was an eternity to get from like that 92,000 to 100. It was almost like, are people like unsubscribing right now? It was crazy. And then all of a sudden, dude, as soon as you hit 100, that's when you can get the little check mark, on it. Right. All of a sudden, we went from, it took us 6 years to get from 0 to 100, and now we're at 160 in like 6 months. You're going to see the same thing, dude. It's crazy. Like YouTube starts promoting you more once you hit 100 and have that little check mark. I know they say they don't, but they do. It's just so obvious.
Well, I'll tell you this, man. Congratulations on that. Anybody that knows, guys, if you're listening, if you put the dedication, the time, the effort in to hit 100,000 on YouTube, I don't care who you are, you should be proud of that, because there is a lot of work and time and money that goes into that. So Congratulations on that, man. That's a big thing.
Right back at you. We'll be looking at yours and refreshing and celebrating with you. So that's exciting. So everyone, please go subscribe. That does help out, and it means a lot to a creator. Especially someone like Joshua here is not charging money to watch the videos. It's all free stuff, and it costs so much money to produce all this. And then go support the brand. They are great. The apparel is top notch. And the customer service is top notch. That's the one thing I've heard over and over again from your customers is customer service. You're not calling up to some random field team out in Afghanistan or Indonesia. You're getting real people, and most of them are part of his family, and they're willing to bend over backwards. So,
well, I appreciate it, Joe. And let's talk offline, and we'll connect again for sure.
Cool. If you guys listen in the vehicle, I know it's a bunch of you. We'll have show notes, and we'll embed a couple of the top Salty Scales videos on the show notes. It's saltstrong.com/podcast. You'll see it right up there at the top. Otherwise, we will talk to you on the next episode. We out. Peace.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul. It was passed down to me from the days of old. You'll find us on the water if there was a way. It's been said my papa, he wrote the book on catching big reds and 20-pound snook. I wish I knew all the things he knew today. For he's the reason why we are this way. And he put fishing in our soul.